we're never going to arrive, and we shouldn't be in a hurry. We should be making steady progress.
Yeah.
What are we doing to invest in ourselves to know that we're never going to get there fully? Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Leader Lab. This is Leadership Shorts, quick thoughts to help you level up your leadership. My name is Chad Wright. I'm the founder of Forward Partners, and I'm joined as always by my partner in podcasting, Emily Grace Deal. Emily Grace Deal, what are we talking about today?
Today we have a quote that you're excited about.
I am very excited about this quote, and I will admit I'm a little weird, so maybe that's why I'm excited, but let's dive into it.
So it's from Dr. Sarah Elizabeth Lewis, and the quote is, "Mastery is an ever onward almost."
Mastery is an ever onward almost.
Almost a tongue twister.
It is a tongue twister, right? We've encountered that already. I love the essence of this quote. Now, again, I'll admit I'm kind of weird. I need a huge mountain to climb, like massive. We may never get to the top mountain, so I'm motivated by that. I will acknowledge that. However, mastery is an ever onward almost. What that's really telling us is mastery and success they're an infinite game. We think it's a finite game. We think there's an end point. There is a top to the mountain. The reality is you get to the top of the mountain, you look, oh, there's a higher peak. There's more to do, right? In mountain climbing, I know this because I study these things. It's called a false peak, where you think you're at the top, but it turns out there's more, right?
I love that.
I do. Listen, I get very nerdy
Not
about
shocked.
things. But I think it's interesting that this idea of success and mastery, you're never there. You are playing an infinite game. And so understanding that, I think matters really, really deeply, because when we think there's an end point, I think we set really bad expectations. We set really bad pace to say, I've got to get there by this point.
Yeah. I have this idea that like if you think that you're perfect at something, then when you make a mistake, it's even more intense.
That's true. It is even more devastating, right?
Right.
That's part of those unhealthy expectations.
Right.
It
If
creates.
you set this like level of expectations for yourself, where you're like, I can do no wrong. I've been doing this for so long. It's not like a, to where you literally think that you're perfect. It's like you have this expectation of like, I should be because I've been doing this for so long.
You know what's funny is I encounter that I should be perfect, but also I should master this fast.
Yes.
We place so much emphasis on speed. I work with one of the organizations we work with. There's this group of young leaders I'm working with, and they are all determined to be like the top of the organization as young as humanly possible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, you have decades ahead of you. Like, what the path to being really successful in this is not about doing it as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And we all do this, I think, sometimes. I remember the story that's, again, a little bit of weird thing about me. Like when I was 26, I was really pissed at myself. I felt like I was an absolute failure. And the reason for that is because Steven Spielberg directed Jaws when he was 25. So Spielberg, greatest director that's ever lived, by the way, directed Jaws, which created the summer blockbuster at 25.
Your favorite movie?
My favorite movie ever. What the hell had I done by 26 to compare to that? That was what I was comparing myself to.
Yeah.
Versus going, hey, what could you be doing when you're 45? Like, what could life look like? What impact could you be having? I couldn't even envision it. It was all about doing things fast. And I think we get in that trap.
I definitely do.
You're laughing at 26-year-old me, aren't you? You're like, God, come on, man.
Give him a hug.
Listen, 26-year-old me needed a hug. I'll tell you that. It really did. I think there is something to this idea of we're never going to arrive, and we shouldn't be in a hurry. We should be making steady progress. What are we doing to invest in ourselves to know that we're never going to get there fully? I think there's something to that, because we run it like a marathon, right? I've got to get to this end point, and I've got to get there really, really fast.
Right.
And by the way, younger than anybody else who's ever done it. It's a sprint.
And we don't really like check those expectations to any reality most of the time, and except for Steven Spielberg.
No, like I'm voicing this idea, and I guarantee you every human I've ever voiced that to is like, seriously? Like that is what you compared yourself to? Like, yeah, it is. Like that's the funny part, is we never really measure those against anything else.
Well, and he probably has his own things too. Like we all have our own stuff. It's just we can see it from the outside, and we see these like.
Mad he doesn't own a leadership coaching company. I can tell you that much. I'm sure he's upset. When I meet him someday, we'll discuss it.
Yes.
Steven Spielberg, if you want to come on Leader Lab, let's come talk to us. We'll have a great conversation. We'll talk about success and how you got there and mastered.
Don't replace me with Steven Spielberg, please.
It's gonna be it's one of our special presentation episodes. Our table's bigger now. We can fit a third person over here.
We are the most rabbit trolley people.
We're gonna interview. This is the pre-lunch episode that we're recording, so we're really hungry. Is what this is. And then
we'll have a post-lunch excuse as well.
And then we'll have a post-lunch just spiral into insanity.
Anyways,
I do like this idea though of we are on this quest that is infinite. So rather than sprinting it, let's run it like a marathon.
Yeah.
Let's make steady progress. I think it's interesting that we're we got to get to this point as young and fast as possible versus, hey, what could be possible if we did slow down just a little?
The best version of yourself, but give yourself some reality in that.
Yes, you need that. That you're always going to be on this quest. Let's run it like a marathon. Let's make progress, but not set crazy goals and timelines that make absolutely no sense whatsoever. Leaders, let's talk next steps. Mastery is an ever onward almost. Do you find yourself with some really unreasonable expectations about, I've got to be perfect at this thing, or I've got to achieve this success by a certain point? Often those are not reasonable. They're not sustainable. So if you can look at anything and identify it and go, well, I wanted to be at this level by this point. Is that reasonable? Is that sustainable? And is there something to understanding that once you get to that point, there's going to be another point above that? So slow down a little, make steady progress, run this like a marathon. Your entire life is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And you probably have decades in front of you to make a difference. Don't worry about, am I making enough difference today? You're going to get further down the road by running it like a marathon. Thank you for bringing us quotes that get me super fired up and get us a little rabbit traily. If people want to send us quotes or things for us to discuss, where do they send that to?
To lab@forwardpartners.net.
Lab@forwardpartners.net. If they want to find us online where we're putting out content, quotes just like this, just to kind of inspire leaders, where do they find that?
@ForwardPartner.
@ForwardPartner on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Thank you so much for bringing this quote and having this conversation. John, thank you for producing. And thank y'all for watching. Thank you for listening. We will see you next time right here in the Leader Lab for Leadership Shorts.